Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be discussing the topic, should you run 35-inch tires on your Tundra? Specifically 35 by 1250 20s, because that is the most common 35 probably that people run on these trucks. They may run an 18, but I'd say most commonly on full-size trucks is the Tundra and Chevy Silverados and F-150s and the Ram and stuff like that. Most people run 35, 1250, 20s. So that is exactly what I have on my truck. As most of you all know, if you don't watch the channel, you may not know this, but when I bought my truck, it already had the wheels and tires on it, it had the lift on it, and it had the Borla exhaust on it. The truck had about 14,000 miles on it. It was the service manager's truck for Toyota when I found it, and as soon as the truck was taken off of the trailer that it come on, the tracking trailer it come on, as soon as they backed it off, it was his truck right then. He ordered it and he did all this stuff to it before he even test drove it. So these wheels and tires and everything have been on it since day one. So, but should you run 35s on it? We're going to discuss, lift options and tire size options and stuff like that. And we're not going to get into tire size a lot because this is mainly focusing on 35 1250s. But should you run a 33 1250 or a 35 1250? And we're going to get into that a little bit here. So a lot of people ask me, will a 35 1250 fit underneath a Tundra with a 3.2 lift? Now mine does have a 3.2 ready lift, and that's the lift that they had put on it from the factory, and it does have 35s. Now there are some things that you have to do to this to make these work without rubbing, and it is still very, very close. Now what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take the phone off the tripod, and I'm going to direct it towards some stuff that you have to do to this truck to get these tires to fit without rubbing. I've already done a video where I set it up and turned the wheel, but we're actually going to do that again for some people that may not have seen that video or may be new to the channel. I'm going to show you that mine does not rub. Now it is very close, but it does not rub. And also then we're going to discuss tire options, and does that make a difference? Because it really does make a difference. So let me get the tripod set up facing the actual wheel, the wheel well area here, your inner fender area, and let me show you what actually had to be done to this truck to make it where it would not rub. Okay, if you'll look in this area right here, you'll notice that you can see my fog light. It's right here. You can see all the wires to it and everything. And I do want to say, when I ordered these fog lights right here, I ordered them from Headlight Revolution. They are GTR lighting. They did say that they were waterproof, and not having an inner fender right here would not bother them at all. So that is perfectly fine having it there. And also the factory one should be too, because this is the way they sold me the truck. This was already off of it. But if you'll notice, I do not have an inner fender right here. They did have to remove this on both sides to get that to where this tire wouldn't rub. Now what I'm going to do next is actually point the camera down in here and show you that the tire does not rub anything here, and then we'll point the camera in the back and show you that it does not rub in the back anywhere. This is really the only thing they had to do to it, was take this off. I don't see anything that they've actually cut or anything like that. None of the bump or anything's been trimmed down that I can tell. It just looks to me like they removed that part of the inner fender. So let me actually set the camera up right here. Let me go ahead and move it over. Let me see if I can get a good angle on that. That should do it. Hopefully the tire doesn't hit the camera right there, but you should be able to see right here and watch these edges to see if the tire actually hits that when I turn it. I've done this before, but like I said, for the people that haven't watched the channel, we're going to do it again for you guys. Okay guys, I shot this once, but the Bluetooth kicked on the truck, and I forget to turn the Bluetooth off on the phone. So if you're shooting video on your phone, make sure to turn the Bluetooth off on it, because when you turn on the truck, it'll stop your recording. So let's do this again. Check the areas right here when I turn the wheel to make sure it does not rub. It'll be very close, but it shouldn't rub. that was from lock position to lock position, full turn. We're gonna move you back here to the back and do the exact same thing. Okay, so like I can say it again, see if I can get you set up just a little bit better. Watch this area here, especially this bracket right here, and see if it touches. Okay, so I've not watched the video yet, but I've watched it do it before and didn't see it rub anything. It is very, very close. I have probably put 8 to 10,000 miles on these tires since I did that, so they probably have a little bit more wear, so they might not even be as close now as they were. But I want to show you something on these tires about the 35s that I have an issue with, and then we'll get on to discuss tire options. So let me take the camera off here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so if you'll notice right here, I have quite a bit of tread left, but I have way more tread left in the center block than I do this outer block. I've noticed that my outer edge of these tires wear a little more than the inside edge does. Now I have had these this truck aligned. They did say they got it back in spec. I do believe an upper arm would probably help even get that a little more, and I have considered getting upper arm to try to pull this in a little bit to stop the wear on this tire. But I do want to say, or actually both tires, it's both sides of the front does the exact same thing. It does wear the outside edge just a little more. But I do have 35,000 miles on these tires, and I'll probably get 40 to 45 out of them before they wear out. So I'm having a hard time justifying $1,000 for the upper arm to maybe get another 5,000 miles out of these. I just don't think that's probably worth it. I've been debating it for the channel, but that's a lot of money installed and everything just to save just a little bit of mileage on the outside edge. And if I'm getting 45,000 miles out of a set of tires, that's about as good as I've ever got out of a set of tires before anyway. So you know, I'm probably not going to do that, but I'm still thinking about it. But I did want you all to know, if you do a 3.2 lift and you put on 35, 12, 50, 20s, at least in my case, I do notice that the outside edge does wear a little bit faster than the inside edge and way faster than this middle block. And I'm running, these are like a 10 ply, and I'm running like 60 PSI in them. So they've got a lot of pressure in them, and it still wears the outside edge more than it does that center block. Now, like I said, I've had this aligned professionally. I had one of the best 4x4 shops in town align this, and it still wears it. They said they got it back in spec and everything was good. The factory did not have it exactly right, but they got it back right, and that was right after I got the truck. So, you know, I do believe they got that put back right. I think it's just when you get into the curves, you have that big wide tire and it just kind of rolls over. And I think that's just the nature of the beast. Now, like I said, if I had upper arms, I believe I could pull that in just a little bit more and probably help that a little bit. But really and truly, 5,000 miles probably is not worth the cost of the upper arms and having them installed. Because, like I said, I think that's somewhere in the neighborhood of $1,000 for a good set. And it'd take you a long time to save $1,000 on tires, you know, saving a 5,000 mile tire. It's just going to take a long time to do that. Now let's get into actually talking about tires themselves. Now this is a Nitto Terra Grappler G2, and I'm probably going to go back with this tire because I've got such good mileage out of it. I mean, 35,000 miles, like I said, and I'm probably going to get 45,000 out of it easily. That's some of the best mileage I have ever gotten out of a tire. I've heard a lot of people talk about these tires saying that they got really bad mileage, but I really can't complain, and I have nothing but good things to say other than the fact they're getting a little slick. On wet roads, I can notice the back end sliding just a little bit and stuff like that. So they are starting to get a little slick, but other than that, I have no complaints with this tire at all, and that's not going to stop me from buying another set. But you have to think about this. With a 3.2 Ready Lift, you can really only fit an all-terrain tire and it not rub without having to cut something. If you go to a mud terrain, it is going to hit, especially up here in the front. You all seen how close that was up here in the front, and a mud tire will hit up there. It will rub. It will probably do more than rub. If I was guessing, it's probably going to grab some of that bumper right there, as close as that is, and either rip a chunk out of the tire or bend that bumper up. I'm guessing the rubber is going to give before the bumper gives, that metal, but I could be wrong. But I don't want to find out what each one of them do. Now, if you want to go up to like a 4.5 inch lift, you can probably fit a mud tire underneath these pretty easily and not have to worry about it. But with a 3.2, you know, all terrains are about all you're going to fit. I don't even know if that center category, like a ridge grappler, would fit, but I'm not going to test it. I'm not going to be the guinea pig that screws up a $1,500 set of tires. I'm just going to go back with what I know works and what I have a good tread life out of with. Now, some other things to consider about when you're running 35, 12, 50, 20s. They are heavy. Tundras are not known for their gas mileage at all. This is going to make it worse. I think my buddy Rob Motive, when he had his stock Tundra and he was going to Texas from Ohio, he said he got somewhere around 16 to 16 and a half on stock tires, stock rim, no lift, just a stock, bone stock truck. He was getting like 16 and a half mile per gallon. On the interstate with these tires, I get about 14 to 14 and a half. 14 and a half is on a good day if it's going downhill to it. Coming, you know, if I'm going uphill, it may even drop to 13 and a half. So that's something you need to consider. When you go to this big a tire, it really bogs down your MPGs by 2 or 3 miles to the gallon. Now, also, people have asked me, does this affect your speedometer? Now, I'm going to do a video on that. I've not done it yet, but I've decided I'm going to do that video. I'd put it off. I couldn't decide. I don't think it really affects it much, but we're going to check it and just see where it is. I thought the factory had redone the speedometer when they put these tires on, but they told me they did not. So I'm actually going to check the speedo to see, you know, just how accurate it is. We'll get out, set the cruise control, set the GoPro up towards the phone, and we'll see what it says, because I have an app on my phone that will actually tell me that using GPS. So we can actually check that, and that'll be a future video, so stay tuned for that. But it will definitely affect your mile per gallon. Now, have I offset that with the intake and the exhaust? I don't know. I don't know how much that really helps. I didn't notice that much with the intake, but stock to mine, it's about 2.5 miles a gallon. So you have to think about that as well. Like I said before, I love these tires and wheels. I love my lift. I'm not going to change it. The 2 mile per gallon I'm losing just isn't worth it. That being said, I am looking for a everyday vehicle, a daily driver. I've test drove a few of them, but that's not because of the gas mileage. That's because I'm putting so many miles on the truck, making it a daily driver. I plan on having this truck for a long time, and I just don't want to rack up the miles on it so that, you know, 5 or 6 years down the road, I've got 200,000 miles on it and I'm still driving it to Florida. But the wheels and tires have nothing to do with that. If you have any questions about this, please leave them in the comment section. You know, like I said, I love these. I'm not going back, but should you do it, that's totally up to you. Now, if you're going to off-road, you'll probably want a bigger lift, or like I talked about before, go down to a 33 1250. My buddy runs those on his truck, and he can actually run mud terrain with no issues at all without it running. But like I said, he had to drop down to a 33. I had thought about doing that at one time, but I've essentially decided I like the look of the 35 better, and I'm going to stick with that and just stay with the all-terrain and just run those, because most of the time this truck isn't off-road anyway, and actually you're going to wear those mud terrains out faster than you will these all-terrains. Again, like I said, if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. Appreciate you watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.